Hey, all you little people, it's the main man here for another chaotic recode match. And today, we're finally getting to play something other than Danians. I'm sorry to everyone who's been like, you need to stop playing Danians, this is getting boring. It is just what I had in Chaotic Rewind. But today, we get to crush bugs under the feet playing as Blastotan, one of the best Warbeast ever. So, if you don't know what Chaotic Rewind is, it's a game where you get your cards after so long. You don't get all the cards at once, you have to earn the cards. So, the reason we play Danians is because that's what I started as. I got a Danian starter deck and got some really good early Danian scans, but here lately, I got Blastotan, and that was excuse enough to play Mepedians. This deck is not great. It is really just Blastotan, and if Blastotan dies, that's the match. There's nothing I can do. But luckily, we're playing against some bugs, and bugs are pretty squishy. So this deck really struggles with music. I have no Mepedian music still. So no Melody of Mirage, no Song of Shelter, no Song of Recovery, no Fighter's Fanfare. I have two Nourishing Nocturnes. That's why these Eptrines are here. That's why he is a sacrificial lamb here. They are only here for Nourishing Nocturnes to give Blastotan 60 energy. I have two Songs of Future Sight, which I'm probably never going to use, and then two Ember Flourishes. That's also like our other problem. I don't have any good generic music either. So I'm just throwing attack cards out, trying to get those good Warbeast attacks. Like I said, Eptrine isn't here to survive. He's just here to get sacrificed for Nourishing Nocturne. Now the deck we're playing against is an Infect deck with Wama Hive Ordnance. Now with that Wama, he has a passive ability where infected creatures cannot flip up their battle gear. So the reason he's infected all my creatures is to have them so their battle my battle gear can't flip up, so it gives him a little bit of advantage. And with his Queen of the Danians, whenever he knocks out an infected creature, she gains a counter, which a major counter will count as a Mandiblore, and his Name gains 5 energy for each Mandiblore. Um, so he's pumping his Name up pretty crazily. But now it's my turn. Hopefully, I can take out that Name, because that is his main fighter. Tabal's there to infect. Queen of Danians is there for her counters, and Makrabon, I believe is his name, is there to infect or help infect. And Wama's just there for his ability. So Queen of Danians also has an ability where all adjacent creatures gain Defender. So he can have me, instead of going after his Name, go after Tobble, which hopefully I destroy, but that means she'll gain another counter because he's a Mandiblore, and when Mandiblores go to the discard, she gains a counter as well. So it's a smart move. Pretty cool deck. I don't have the music to play this or the Wama. I keep trying to get the freaking Wama because I do want to try this deck out because I love Wama. That was the first episode of Chaotic I ever watched was with Wama, so he has a special place in my heart. So you can see how easily I'm taking out Tobble. In two strikes, there, boom. But Tobble wasn't there to put up a fight. He's only there to kind of infect in the beginning. If he gets a code, great. But if not, he's given a counter to the Queen of the Danians. So I'm moving up that Eptrine down a little bit, just so when Name attacks him, I can re-attack him with Blastotan the next turn. I do have an Aftermath Feint, which is a good zero attack card. You play it, and if your creature gets coded, you get to draw 2 attack cards and discard 2 attack cards. So if you know you're going to lose that and a fight, play it. It's a zero attack card. This is the only deck I like playing it. I see a lot of Underworld decks play it. I don't like playing it because I like to be offensive. I don't want to waste attack cards by, oh, well, if I lose, I'd rather put a Linquistent Swirl or an Incinerate that you can always boost up. And look, and 2 attacks, boom, that my Epitrine's gone again. But I do get my Aftermath Feint. And I get another Aftermath Feint and a Cyclone Slam. Cyclone Slam is probably the best attack card in this game and for the Warbeast right now in this format. I think it does 30 damage. I need to look back at it. I think it's Or maybe it does more. So let's talk about Blaziken. So I'm going into his Name now. Let's see how I can do with his main fighter. And this is when I don't know why he's done some of the things he's doing. We'll get into a second. But Blaziken. Blaziken is a great war beast. He has super high stats, 150 courage, 75 power, 50 wisdom, 150 speed. So if you're putting him in a courage or speed kind of focus, he's not going to lose those challenges. So Cyclone. So I did 40 damage. Cyclone Slam does 40 damage. That's crazy. I don't know why he didn't activate. I guess I don't know. I was like, why didn't he activate Hive? But I guess he wants to save that for his next Name, which I guess is a good point. He did Twister of Elements, which lets you kind of thin your deck out a little bit. I don't know. So I'm going to use Shadow Strike. So Blasphatan has Air 5 and Earth 5. So anytime you're doing an Air and Earth attack, you're boosting up by 5. He has Recklessness 25, which I think's pretty high for most War Beast. Like, Blasphatan's the best in Silent Sands. But then, the other War Beasts, what, do they have Recklessness 10, maybe Recklessness 15? So Genie Outpost, or Ajani. I'm gonna say Ajani Outpost. Ajani Outpost. Not a great location. That's the other bad thing. This deck does not have great cards. I don't have good music. I don't have good support. I'm glad I have the Conjurers because without the Conjurers, this deck couldn't work. And I don't have good locations. A lot of these locations I only put in because I know I'm going to win initiative, but they don't do anything. So there's a Cyclone Slam. Boom. Already down to 10 health. Great for me. But he has an Ice Disc. His best attack. It'll do 30 damage. So I'm going to go ahead and... So I have to take it first. And then I'm going to... Oh, I guess I'm going to attack first. I'll do Blind Fury. That should do 25. So he has to activate Hive or it's a knockout. So, of course, he has to activate it. Mark Rabon, I forget he can activate Hive. I just think he's there for infecting. He can also. So he goes back up to 40. So I'm going to go ahead and do Geo Flourish to just heal. Because if he has another Ice Disc, I'm coded. If he has... I guess that's the only thing. Because as good as... Or he... I think... Is that the Doom Hammer he has? If that's the Doom Hammer, he does get Earth 5. So Deluge of Doom could knock me out. So I'm playing careful just to get out of that threshold. He does have 3 music cards left, and there's another Ice Disc. That's why I did Twister of Elements. I think that's why he didn't use his Hive counter on the last fight, is because he's putting all his marbles. He knows if he beats Blasphetan, he wins. And vice versa. I know if I beat this Name, I win. Maybe. I'm kind of... Maybe if he played it out. No, because our attack deck shuffled. I was going to say maybe, his Queen of the Danians. Probably not, but maybe, because I might have ran out of good attack cards. I'm using Nourishing Nocturne here. This lets me sacrifice a minion creature and gain all of their energy. So I think I gained 40. I think Savelle has 40. And boom, draw a perfect card. Marksman's Preparation. One of my favorite attack cards in the game. If you have the other one, you can discard it to do 30 damage. And because I have Air 5, I'm doing 5 damage. So he'll live with 5 health. So there's a Deluge of Doom. Yeah, so that is the Doom Hammer. So there's 25 for me. I draw Slow Sand. Probably my second best attack. Does 30 damage. So he has to use 2 Domestic Hive Hymns, and I have another Nourishing Nocturne in case he does. So there's 1 Domestic Hive Hymn. And I think this is the funny part. I think he doesn't do the math right, or didn't have enough. Or no, he did. I check. He has another Domestic Hive Hymn, but for some reason doesn't use it. Maybe he wouldn't have had enough health because every time he uses a music counter, he's going to lose 5 health. But there's a match. That was a pretty quick match. Let's get into another Blastotan match where I crush some squids. How about that? You want to see me crush some Mammalians? Well, check back. And we're back, little people. I thought, a 10-minute video's not long enough. We need some double trouble. You need to see Blazotan squish more things underneath his whirling wind feet. So, probably one of the worst matchups is a Warbeast versus Gantrak. Gantrak is a Marillion chieftain who, instead of dealing damage to your opponent's energy, you reduce their disciplines by whatever damage you would have done. The problem with that is Blasvatan has 150 courage and 150 speed, so it's pretty hard to knock him out with disciplines. Now there are ways around it. You could get one. Is it? Are they chieftains? So there's some Marillions where you can discard two music cards and destroy them on some certain discipline. Like Million, you discard two and you destroy a creature with zero power. Probably kind of the only way to do Blasphatan, unless you just get some insane attacks one after the other with some pretty good music. But here, it's not going to go good. I'm going after Blades, who's probably the best card. When he's got a chieftain, he does 10 extra damage to disciplines. So I always used him in my Gantrak decks. I love Gantrak. He was one of the first decks that kind of got me back into Chaotic, just because it was a different way. Um, and he, so yeah, but here's a different way. So he's using Blades with the Destructo Zuka to give him water attacks because this is a water deck. I don't know if I agree with that. I probably would have kept it a fire deck, and maybe if he had Gronmore, use that. Does he have Fire 5 when he's a minion? I don't remember. Maybe he has Water 5 when he's a minion. But see, that attack only brought me to 120. There's a Blind Fury. I think that does that do 20, 25? I think it might do 30 because I actually get my battle gear. I did not get my battle gear in the last match. I have Power Leash of the Warbeast. It gives me plus 5 energy for every conjurer, so it gives me plus 15. Or no, yeah, it gives me plus 15 plus another 5 generic energy, and then I hit for 5 more, but I get Recklessness 5. So there's a Steam Rage. But yeah, so not a great matchup for this Gantrak player, but I love Gantrak. Gotta show him off. I don't think I've showed him off on the channel yet. I really want him because I want to recreate that deck I played as like I said, probably a couple years ago at this point. So there's a Poison Steam. Will that actually do anything? So he's using a Melody of Mirage. His Mepedian over here actually has Heptad's Crown, which they didn't need for Melody of Mirage. Oh, but he did. He did, because when you're playing a Marillion Chieftain, you can only use generic music, so that's why. And I'm trying to remember what this the Mepedian does. I think when maybe you target a creature, he gains a music counter. It never comes up this game. I think it has to be that, but I don't have any music that like targets because again, my music pool's horrible. You know, other than my nourishing nocturnes, not great. So there's another poison steam. Hopefully this gets the knockout. Blastotan just probably all war beast. Well, I guess I wouldn't say all, but your war beast to have those high stats like look, I have 70 courage and 70 speed left. So he maybe here's the thing. If I had another crappy attack card instead of progressive speed, maybe in two attacks he could have knocked me out. But there's a knockout, really big knockout. Blades is by far probably his best attacker. So I'm using my Ipetrine up because remember, Ipetrine in this deck is only to be a target for Nourishing Nocturne. And I'm moving it up so I can attack him. If he hits Blades with that, um, I can go into Blades with my Blasphemy. I just had a mini stroke. So I put the Ajani Outpost on it, so if he wants to move Blade, he has to spend that last music counter. This is one of Gantrak's problems. I see a lot of people play him, but not a lot, but quite a few. But they never have good like music support, and they need it. You can't. I feel a lot of times work those disciplines fast enough without some like good healing. So he does have some. He has that Ringus that would heal 10. But that's just not enough. You need Need some just good generic healing. There's a Caustic Cascade. Again, I'm glad he's using those strong attacks because I don't. Epitrine is he's not here to win the fight. Maybe he could. Tremdo only has 35 health. So there's a Shadow Strike. Doesn't do anything because I literally have no courage. Perplexing Heat down to 30. And it's like, what attack card do I get rid of? Choose my Trampling Tackle. It goes to 25. If I draw a Marksman Preparation. Oh, he's using his own Marksman Preparation. If I drew my own, that could have been a win. But there's the Aftermath Feint. I gotta figure out what attack cards to get rid of. Let's see. What do I get rid of? I'll get rid of I probably should have kept the Shadow. I think that would have done more damage than the Sand Strike. So usually I watch all these matches before I record, so I can get a base. Like, oh, I did this. This is the one I haven't. Just because it's really quick. And it's pretty one sided just because Blasphatan is such a bad matchup for Gantrak. Unless you're doing so, I probably would have done. I don't know. I would have stuck with fire and wind attacks, maybe with some whirlwind scythes to get those power down, psycho drains. If you had million, that's a way, because Blasphatan doesn't have the highest power, but I guess that's real specific though. But I felt that was kind of the only way I could make Gantrak work is choosing a discipline and going for it. I felt like power was the easiest one to lower. And boom, look, there's Trimmed already gone. Um, so I don't know. This could have been a whole different game if you had million. Also, if you're not using that music support, uh, being it to use million to discard 2 music cards, that's 3 creature knockouts potentially. Not bad. Especially like I don't know. If you don't have a good music pull, but he might not have million. Again, it is chaotic rewind, so he could not have it. I don't have great music, and I don't have great Mepedian cards. These four, this middle diamond of my Conjurers and Blasphatan, the only good Mepedian cards I have. Now, I did just pull one of the best locations, the Royal Academy of Melee Arts. That will definitely be going in the deck. And I'm hoping I can get the headmaster because that would be awesome. Maybe we could actually do some like invisibility decks and not just Warbeast. I love Warbeast so much. Warbeast is one of those decks that I always love to play as, but hate to play against because they kill my Danian so fast. Look, Blade's already down to 5 health. Yep, crazy. Aftermath Feint, I believe it's how it's pronounced. But I would like to do some invisibility stuff. I don't think I've really ever done an invisibility deck, so that would be pretty cool to be able to do for the first time. But yeah, this is more of a ramble for the second part, just because again, it is a one-sided massacre. The Marillions tried to come into some Impedian territory, and the Conjurers were like, "F that." But now his pony's going into my Epitrain Rengus. I didn't record this match, but last night my Rengus beat a Talking Nom Shadow Knight. Now, granted, it was at the Jade Pillar, but still, probably the first time in history a Rengus has ever beat a Talking Nom Shadow Knight. I wish I would have recorded that part. I forgot to hit record. And I swear that's how it works, though. Your best matches, you forget to record. Although we've had some really good matches on the channel. Really good matches. I guess I'll put this here because I'm not going to make a video on it because people are going to be pissed. Does anyone think we're going to get any cool stuff at San Diego Comic Con this week? I know Panini's there. I know Mothership Games is there. I would like to think they've finalized the cards. They probably haven't, but I'd like to think they have. And there's the match. he conceded. pretty cool. I got marks in preparation. That probably would have got me the win right there. So there's Blazertan for you. It's great to finally have him. I can crush cards underneath his heels now. It's amazing. If I win any more matches, I'll play. I'll let them. I'll put them up. The problem is, since this deck is so bad, the matches aren't great to watch. It's kind of, oh, my Blaziken's gone because he got freaking nuked by Underworld Music. So you might not see him for another week or two. Hopefully, I can win a match. Hopefully, I'm trying so hard to get Mepedian Music. If you know where on Chaotic Rewind you get good Mepedian Music, let me know. Because I'm down to every 6 hours getting a new card, and I bet I'm getting close on 7. So I definitely need help. Because I really want to keep playing Warbeast, but I can't make great videos when I just get massacred each time because Blast of Tan falls to like two Cannon of Casualties and a Takinom Shadow Knight combo. It just doesn't work. So let me know, please, where I can get a Melody of Mirage, a Song of Shelter, um, and just some better cards. But yeah, but 2 matches down, 2 Ws. That's how we do it here at the NCW. And remember, this is where the big boys play, and that's the bottom line.